Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. One winner. 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had breakfast. A little brekkie could be good for me. No, stay focused. Speed. I'm faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am...
The M551 Sheridan. Hello and welcome to another video. Today is all about the Sheridan tech tree, which is, in my opinion, one of the most enjoyable tech trees to grind, and in the end it is totally worth it to obtain the Sheridan. And the satisfaction is pretty much unrivaled to any other because of its unique gameplay style, and you know that's the mainstay of this tech tree. And today, just like other videos, I'll be reviewing the tier 6 to tier 10 vehicles in this tree, which are the M24 Chaffee, the M41 Walker Bulldog, the T49, the T92E1, and finally the Sheridan, which is gonna be kind of the main focus of this video. For every tank in this tree, I recommend this equipment loadout because every shot counts in this tech tree. First of all is the M24 Chaffee, which is at tier 6. It used to be tier 5. If you have played for over 2 years ago, then you will remember this being tier 5. It was a good tank then, and it was since moved to tier 6 and buffed respectively. However, I really don't think that it's that good of a tank. Although it has the same DPM as a T37 and same gun characteristics, however the mobility and the power to weight ratio, along with the terrain resistance and credit coefficiency, which is also a factor in playing a tech tree, because you want to add, you want to have credits by the time you research the next tank. The M24 Chaffee isn't really an ideal tank, especially for beginners, and it really does have a certain learning curve to it. And if you want to challenge yourself, then go ahead. This is a viable option for you. Or else, this is the least fun tank in the whole tech tree. Tanks before it, such as the M4 Sherman, are incredibly fun to play, and just because it's iconic, and it is also a very good tank to play. Regardless, M24 Chaffee, compared to its similar playstyle counterparts, such as the MT25 or the Type 64, it really isn't good. Just mainly because it lacks the movement and mobility. As you can see, in the speed is lacking compared to these other light tanks, and I think it's just a better choice to just play the T37 over the M24. But this is something that is unavoidable, and if you have enough free XP to skip to tier 7, then that's always something you can do. Next up is the M41 Bulldog, which is an absolute gem at tier 7 because of its sheer DPM numbers. With fully trained crew with maximum provisions, you get 2,849 DPM, which is a lot more than, say, the Type 62 and the LTTB. The penetration is also one of the best in its tier among light tanks. 155 millimeters of pen, it's okay. If you go to the heat ammunition, you get 200, which can deal with tier 8 heavy tanks. If you need to engage them, then it can do its job. However, against tanks like IS-3 or the Object 252U, and say tanks like the IS-2, then this tank will struggle, because they have spaced armor on the sides, and heat does not like spaced armor. If you have played this game for a while, then you should know this. The Walker Bulldog does have an advantage over gun handling characteristics compared to the Type 62 and LTTB, which have quite similar playstyles, and they have similar gun calibers to the M41 Bulldog. They are not as nimble as the Bulldog, so make sure as a Bulldog, when you're up against other medium tanks, to constantly move and not stop, because stopping in a light tank is just sitting duck. And if you just sit there, and if there are tank destroyers such as the SU-152 or J Panther 2 on the enemy team, then they will high explosive you, most likely one shot you, and it's back to garage for you. And this tank is very fun to play. I think it's one of my most favorite tanks in the tech tree, apart from the T92E1, which will be later. Just to let you know that I will not be talking about the armor profiles of the M24, the M41, and the T49 because they are virtually non-existent. However, I'll be talking about the armor on the T92E1 and the Sheridan because it does actually matter. And just take the general mindset that speed is your armor, and if you stop moving, then you're basically dead if the enemy sees you. This tank will lead up to the T49, which is up next. Now, this T49 has a variety of playstyles to it, and that's one of the main reasons why it is an extremely fun tank to play. You can go harass heavies, you can go harass tank destroyers behind the lines, or you can just totally bully the hell out of other medium and light tanks using the high explosive that is blessed. And the T49 actually has two guns that you are able to research that both are good, but many people prefer to use the 152mm gun, which has insane damage per shot, and the other gun is the 90mm gun, which it's alright. It has okay penetration. Not many people use it. I haven't seen many people use it. However, if you want a consistent kind of damage, if you want to relocate constantly and try to put shots into everyone without getting spotted, then the 90mm gun is for you. If you want to get if you just want to run behind the enemy and you want to get a really good high explosive shot in for around 600 or 900 damage, then the 152mm gun is for you. You will see in a later montage that I slapped into this video where the high explosive of these 152mm guns that are present from the tier 8 tank to the tier 10 tank in this video. Taking a comparison of the T49 to tanks such as the RU-251 or the FV-301, it doesn't look too good for the T49. However, in a practical sense, the T49 is superior if in the right hands, because it can just put out so much damage in just one shot, and you can just run away because you have speed. The difference in mobility doesn't matter between the T49 and the other light tanks. They're around the same maneuverability performance, and if you have support, then they wouldn't be able to get around and shoot you, when you're behind cover. So that is something to consider. And the T49 is one of the most fun tanks to play. I have owned it ever since I bought it, and it has never failed to impress me in tank battles where you could totally run a platoon of double T49. You can focus one tank and you can instantly erase it, and back to garage they go. I've seen this many times, and usually I would be the one that is a victim to it, and it's kind of funny. Next up is the T92E1, which is also a one-shot wonder like the T49, and this tank is much smaller than the T49, and has quite a trollish armor profile. If you like to sneak around a little bit and have a similar playstyle with the 152mm gun on the T49, then this will definitely suit your agenda. If you don't really like the 152 gameplay and prefer the 90mm gun over it, then I suggest picking the 105mm gun, which is actually stock and really is not recommended for the T92E1. Especially when you are faced against tier 10s, it will not have much penetration. The 152 you will find is much more accurate than the T49's 152, and it has a very controversial ammunition type, which is called the ATGM. Everyone wanted it, they got it, and they complained about it when they got it, and I don't understand that. Compared to its counterparts, it actually has quite the effective armor in a practical sense. In battle, you can bounce quite a lot if you hold down your tank, and however, the DPM is not that impressive compared to the Vickers Cruiser and the Bat Sheridan. The damage per shot, it's kind of the meta at this point, damage per shot, and it has a long-lasting effect. It's more strategic. Think of DPM as more tactical. You just chip away at the enemy's HP, but then if you have a big alpha, then you can have a strategic implication on the game, because if you do like 1,000 damage to a tank, then it kind of gets their morale down, right? And they don't really want to peek anymore, so that's technically a tank that is out of the game because they're not really contributing to the team anymore. And a 152mm, this is the first 152mm on a light tank, especially at something at tier 9. You only see one calibers above 150mm on tank destroyers and or heavy tanks, and that this is also have stayed true at tier 10 as well. And T92 with combined with a low silhouette, very good gun, and this kind of maneuverability and protection is very good, and I see why people complain about it. And sometimes it's fun to see people just throw salt at you because you just totally mowed the lawn with them on the battlefield. Now for the price. When you've gone through all these tanks, you finally finish at the Sheridan. Sheridan has been through a lot of punishment by wargaming due to balancing, and ATGMs and maneuverability have been nerfed, but it is still quite good at its job of harassing medium tanks and just kicking them out of the medium flank so that your team can start supporting the heavy tanks on the other side of the map. And if you do this correctly and you just manage to pull all this off, then I'd say that you have mastered the Sheridan. The gun is also really good on the Sheridan. It's very accurate. It's stupidly accurate for a light tank with a 152mm. It's absolutely unreal. Compared to its counterparts, it has very troll armor. It has it's spaced armor. It's not. It's a tank with just space armor all around it. It's like a fence that blocks damage in the most awkward ways possible. I've bounced a lot of good shots on the Sheridan, and it is virtually impossible to high explosive penetrate the Sheridan on the hull. You need to aim for the turret if you want to actually do some high explosive damage. The armor of this tank is, I cannot stress it enough that it's very, very troll And if you continuously wiggle the tank, then you can actually, hold the line in some cases, and that's very unusual for a light tank to pull off. If you see in these screenshots, point of views from Bat Chats and other medium tanks such as the Leopard, the Sheridan, it may seem very vulnerable. However, this is, practicality is the main thing you need to try out. In training rooms, just ask someone who has a tank that you want and just take it into training room and look at it as, from the perspective, of another tank of the same tier. You will understand how it works. You can't just rely on stat cards and whatnot. So that is the Sheridan in a nutshell. That is it for this tech tree review video, but don't leave yet, because I have made a montage, as I said before, about the T49 and T92E1 tanks doing a lot of damage per shot, and I hope you enjoy this. And once again, here is the fail montage. Thank you for coming to my channel again and watching this video. I hope this proved useful in trying to find a tech tree that you want to grind, and please give me feedback. That is always appreciated down in the comments below, and I will see you next time with a full critique of a map. So it's a map review.